Welcome, everybody. It is 6 p.m. in the Pacific time zone. That means it is time for another weekly Spy Party Competitive League cast. I'm your host, Lieutenant Hummus. I am joined, as always, by my casters, Taboshi and Warning Track. How are you two doing today?
I'm doing very well. How are you?
I'm doing well, thank you. It's been a busy day, but I'm excited to sit down, relax, grab my beverage of choice, and watch some Spy Party.
How's life, Track?
It's not bad. What is your beverage of choice, Hummus?
Right now, it's actually coffee.
Coffee.
I'm drinking coffee. It's,
Well, when you've had a long day.
when you've had a long day, there's nothing like a bunch of caffeine, and not just any coffee. I'm actually drinking some espresso too. So good luck going to sleep tonight. Future.
Yeah.
That's future Hummus's problem. That's not my issue right now.
Oh no.
So yes, I want. We have two special matches for you tonight. We've got Sheph versus DavidW and Plastiques versus Burke Sailor. We're gonna start off with Sheph and DavidW. Anything you want to say about this match before we get totally into everything?
For those who don't know, the Challenger division was flush with people this year, and the top two finishers in Challenger, which is a Swiss-style system, get auto-promotes. To what division, we don't know. Technically Iron, but I'm pretty sure we're going to find a way to let them advance a little more than that, given how incredibly talented they've proven themselves to be. But the people who don't get one of those two auto-promotes were put into a giant bracket, and a few of the top finishers in this, just basically a knockout tournament bracket, can also receive auto promotes. And among those people, I believe the first 7 received first round buys, including both of our opponents here, Sheph and DavidW. They were the 3 and 6 seeds respectively, so they haven't had to play quite as many matches as everyone else. But this will be the third match for both, I think. David fended off DBDK Mez 9-3, and then Amlabella 9-3 also. So DavidW has played 2 matches, neither of them close so far. Sheph, on the other hand, barely held off Watermeat in overtime, and then made quick work of Max Edward Snacks 9-1. So this is going to be, I don't want to say the first test for either of them, but definitely the biggest test for either of them so far.
I don't know, man. Watermeat is not an easy fight.
Yeah, that was a bad draw for Sheph. Watermeat ranked 35, clearly underranked there, and as I mentioned, overtime, very close. Watermeat, I think, bad luck for them too. If they hadn't had to play Sheph so early, might have gone pretty deep into this tournament. But DavidW has had nothing but smooth sailing so far. Again, 9-3 in both their matches. But good luck pulling off that kind of score against someone like Sheph.
Yeah, this is going to be a bit of a barn burner. Already up in the quarterfinals of the Challenger division. This should be a good one.
And
yeah, very looking forward to it.
Let's get into the picks. Oh, damn it. Picks.
At least it wasn't a bam.
It was so close. Yeah. I was so close.
It was sub-bam at the very least.
All right, so starting off, Sheph goes ahead and bans pub any 4 of 7. DavidW goes ahead and bans terrace any 3 of 5. I'd say those are mostly standard bans, yes?
Yeah, nothing too weird here, although when I look at the bans for both of these players during the SCL Challenger regular season, none of them had a map they really wanted to ban much more than any other. I don't think they banned any maps more than twice a piece. So these are pretty, these are players who are willing to play pretty much anything.
Awesome. So let's see what they are going to play. So Sheph goes ahead and grabs, perfect. You already know what it's going to be. High Rise, any 3 of 5. It's a map I approve of.
Either that or pub.
It's going to be that or pub. That's right. DavidW goes ahead and selects Library, 5 of 8. Sheph goes and grabs Balcony, any 2 of 3. DavidW responds. I think there's a little bit of a pattern here. Veranda, any 5 of 8. Sheph's last pick is Courtyard, 4 of 7. And David's last pick is Gallery, 4 of 8.
Interesting enough. I mentioned earlier that none of them banned any map more than twice, I don't think. And in this case, a map they did ban twice each was one of their picks. So clearly playing against type, so to speak. However, Balcony Library, their first picks, were in fact their most picked maps this year. So whether or not the bans matter to them a lot, the picks certainly seem to. They're definitely settling into their comfort zone there.
Awesome. So let's get into the game, shall we?
Yeah.
So we're going to start out. Bam. Oh,
Okay, that one was a literal ban.
That was a little ban.
Yeah.
We're going to start out on high rise. Any 3 of 5 Shep as pearls. And David W. behind the rifle. Go ahead, take it away.
In 3, 2, 1, playing it. Always interesting to start things out on high rise. Any 3 of 5, it being a small, soft-tail heavy map. Current situation as far as the mission setup is concerned. No transfer microfilm, no swap the statue, no purloin the guest list as we step in for our first flirt.
It is considered more or less the standard mission setup for high rise. This is usually the most effective way to give yourself a chance to complete missions, but also give the AI a lot of chance to do the same.
White test on the first flirt brings us up to 34%. And this is a map where we have plenty of time to sit and observe and figure out what the game plan is. There's lots of room to work in high rise any 3 of 5.
Yeah, and if you play your cards well on Sniper, you're going to feel like you have a very good sense of the party most of the time. That works well for David W. He actually won all 3 of his high-rise Sniper games during the SEL regular season. But Shep, no slouch on the Spy side. 83% of his Spy games were wins on this map.
83% on the Spy side. That's terrifying.
I mean, small sample size, as is always the case in seasons like this, but that's definitive enough that it tells you that he knows how to play it.
Second flirt, a green test this time on the other side of the seduction target brings us up to 85%. Still 2 minutes to play.
Yep, and you really don't need to do too much. If it looks like the Spy's idling, they're not exactly. Hopefully, they're getting a little bit of progress done here and there, not drawing any attention to themselves. More importantly, watching the party like the Sniper. In fact, it's kind of funny. For the first minute of most high-rise games, the Spy and the Sniper are doing the exact same thing, looking at all the AI walking around.
This is very true. Blue Book is back in the bookcase now. Looks like we might try for this briefcase. Indeed, we are. So that's going to be a fingerprint on the table for Shep already.
Yeah, and what this looks like is Shep is doing the standard half measure. I'm going to get the flirt done, I'm going to get half a fingerprint done, and then if no AI finishes and gets themselves shot, I'll have an option to finish late.
Does pick up the highlight for the fingerprint, though, and possibly a little bit of briefcase weirdness as well.
That's very significant, that highlight.
No! Seduction target bails on us.
And the time is low enough that actually kind of matters now, but that highlight for a fingerprint is a really big deal, because that means you're probably not going to be able to finish with that mission if David W. is really tracking it, as much as that highlight indicates.
Indeed, indeed. Ambassador's getting friendly, though. We've got a moment that we're zoomed in on the other side of the map, but there's the bug coming off, and it looks like it caught off clean. This is going to buy Shep a little bit of opportunity to come forward here. Here comes the contact, 30 seconds to play. A bad shot comes off, and Shep starts things out with the win on the Spy side.
Yeah, and as far as I can tell, that's just Irish going to center statues, crediting the flirt, and worried, I guess, about the bug or something else, because the banana bread goes off right as it happens, and that is really unfortunate. Sometimes you take your shot, and because of the little second lag before it registers, you hear banana bread while you're shooting, and the person you're shooting is not in a conversation, so you know before the results screen even comes up that the shot was wrong. In this case, had already missed the bug, though, so it's not the missed shot that was the problem. That game was lost already.
Irish got highlight very early on for a flirt pairing with Queen. And it looks like she might have done some other business, but I'm not really sure. So definitely going to center statues late like that, not a bad shot to take.
Yeah, and one of the problems is that it's just so easy to convince yourself you missed a bug.
Yeah.
That's one of the reasons you leave bug on. Yeah. So I mentioned that you leave those missions on so that AI can complete. Well, that's the thing about bug too. It's the hard tell that could be completed by AI theoretically, or look like it could have been, that's easiest to imagine an AI completed.
Either way, getting ready to step into the next one. Shep behind the rifle this time. David on the Spy. In 3, 2, 1, playing it.
David W. 2-1 on his Spy high-rise games. Shep as Sniper on high-rise, 3-2. So, decent rate for both, really. Nothing overwhelming on either side with this particular orientation.
David starting things off at side statues here. Inspects are off in this situation, so that was just a place to be with no suspicion at all. Swap is off, Inspect is off, Microfilm is off. So we have Purloin on the table this time.
Yeah, putting Purloin in there is not that unusual. Usually people turn off something else, maybe Bug or Fingerprint instead, but Purloin's reasonable. It's a late mission you can rush and call over if you need to. The temptation there with Inspect, even though it's a good mission to keep on most of the time, is if you've also turned off Swap, which you probably have, then you have a mission site like that where unless an ambassador touched the statue, it is a totally neutral site. It's a way to just get some heat off you.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have a 17% flirt, the literal worst possible flirt in the entire game.
It doesn't have to matter on High Rise, but if the flirt is trouble late, we're going to remember that.
Second flirt brings us up to 39%, so this is peachy.
That's just an unfortunate sentence. Second flirt brings us up to 39%.
It really is.
You want the majority of your flirts, your single flirts, to be above that.
Well, a white test close will bring it up to 34, which is pretty close.
You gotta hit those greens, man. They're not that hard.
Gotta hit those greens.
Gotta hit them greens.
At least one green.
Yeah.
Takes an innocent drink and steps away with it into an innocent conversation. David really taking his time on this one.
And the ambassador, it's a shame inspects aren't on in a way because the ambassador just picked up center statue. Although maybe it's for the best. Sometimes it's suspicious and spies can't resist it.
Taking a fingerprint at center statue is...
It's tough.
Oh, man.
Any other map, it's a little safer. It's still so hard to resist, though.
Ooh, Ambassador looked like she might have wanted to get bugged there, but David was a little bit too exposed to risk pulling the trigger on something like that. Stepping in for the fingerprint, though. Low on time as well.
So it's just a fingerprint without the added suspicion of center statue. Hopefully, Shep remembers that. I think they will.
Look at the situation, though. 37 seconds left to play, no completions. Still need 2 flirts, still need a fingerprint, still need something else as we step in for the contact. But look at the double agent bails on us. We've got our 3rd flirt. We're at 56%.
I mean, at minimum, you have to find a good fake here to induce a shot. At minimum.
I'd like to say that again. That's our 3rd flirt. We're at 56%. We just take a purloin and die.
That's unfortunate. I think,
Oof.
look, rushing a purloin because you can actually finish maybe late, fine. But if you're trying to induce a shot, it's fake banana bread, almost definitely.
Yeah, I agree.
Maybe a phantom bug path, maybe you missed an AI doing something. Who knows what they're tunneling on? Who knows if they're flirt pairing? Who knows if there was a wonky path that you missed and the sniper saw? The best chance of salvaging that game, I think, is a fake banana bread.
Had to try something, but that was not the thing to try. Shep goes up 2-0 early on. But we're going right back on in there. Shep on the spy with the standard no purloin, no swap, no... Wait, yeah, no purloin, no swap, no microfilm. In 3, 2, 1, playing it.
Yeah, back to the standard setup, so to speak.
And once again, do not be afraid if there's a lot of idling, because there's a lot of time to play with, despite what David would have you think.
Yeah, there is a lot going on. People are walking by the ambassador. People are going to statues. People are getting prints or difficult prints, potentially. It's a lot happening there for the sniper to notice, and they are going to notice most of it. That's the nice thing. Because they have less to look at, the upside is they're going to notice all those little things. So if you want to frame someone for something they did, there's a good chance the sniper caught it and is going to be receptive to that frame. Sometimes you want to frame an AI, and the sniper didn't even see why they were supposed to be suspicious.
Boots is moving.
Yeah, a lot of activity. Normally bad with an ST, but hey, again, frame target, maybe.
Yeah, absolutely. Stepping into conversation, picking up a close green for the first flirt there for our first piece of progress. With about 2 minutes and 20 left to play. Picking up the contact at the same time. 2 low lights coming through. Pretty good.
Yeah, that's pretty good, all right. And that green flirt helps, especially with boots bouncing around.
We're low lit as well. I'm not
Oh,
sure
my
how
goodness.
much that means with David on the sniper. I'm not really used to his play, but being low lit is never a good sign for the sniper.
Probably not, although I will say that high rise is like balcony in the sense that you can kind of justify using lowlights as a form of information tracking, just like highlights. If you're relatively confident, you can keep watching them. Might make a few things harder to see, but if you're really on it, it can work.
Sheph has had a couple of good opportunities for reverse drive-by bugs here and hasn't taken them. He's in the perfect spot for it as well.
Probably would if he knew we were low lit, but they're
Yeah.
very risky and it's just so exposed sometimes.
Especially when you don't have much in the way of cover like this.
Yeah.
Getting 15 to play. We still need possibly one, maybe two flirts. Fake contact.
Banana bread.
And only 2 people who aren't already low lit could have done that. I think.
Yeah, but I don't think there was a suspected double agent in the back conversation there.
Yeah, there wasn't. The one that had an SDA, all lowlights already, although again, not sure how serious those are.
45 seconds. Needs a green test and hits it. That's the flirt done with. One mission to get. But it's not obvious. It might have to be a bug at this point. Bug or center statues.
Let's see where the ambassador goes. This is a big moment. They go to one of the worst spots possible in terms of cover, I would say.
Indeed.
Oh, Boots brings back the case. This could be interesting.
There, we got Toby there. Too late for Shep on the movement, but we've got Cowboy there now. There's the bug coming through, but we're low lit.
And he's blocking it. Slim is blocking it. That was totally unseen.
Could very easily have been caught, I think, on the way in, if not for the low light. But Shep able to pick up game number 3.
Yeah, so the low light did mean something for sure there, and I guess just got it for general idling, although your standards for idling have to be augmented on high rise, to say the least. Clearly a significant highlight here. Wasn't exactly the hat running interference this time, but the man himself. He's always getting in the way of the things spies are doing.
Oh man, I take it back. I thought that would have been a little bit visible from the front.
It's
but
great.
Carlos is in the perfect position, and it's completely invisible. Even with a highlight, that wouldn't have been caught.
I think the thing is, if you're up on the suspects, if you have a good idea of who could have done a real banana bread, for example, and again, it was all lowlights in the conversation with the SDA, I would have thought that would have brought the lowlights back up, by the way. There's a reason to rethink your lowlights right there, for sure. Yeah. And if that happens, and if he's one of the suspects, and he just takes that path, even if it's invisible at that point in the game, you might shoot for that alone is the thing, even though it is, as you say, invisible.
Rough start for David as he steps back into the spy side. The standard setup, no transfer, no swap, no purloin. Needs this game against Shep on the sniper. In 3, 2, 1, playing it.
That DavidW now has 2 losses on high rise, both of them just now. He was 3-0 heading into this, and now he's 3-2 after the first 2 games.
Playing one of the slowest characters is not what you want to see after that last game, but look at the ambassador's position. We could easily get a bug on the way through here. There it is. And it's clean.
Yeah, it's clean. One of the nice things about having one of the slowest characters, this is a great little bit of emergent gameplay. A lot of other characters, especially like Taft or Alice or whatever, if you want to do a walking bug where you walk by the ambassador, you actually have to take kind of a weirdly wide path to try to time it properly while you're walking. But that character's slow enough that you can just do a normally timed bug and she walks by at pretty much exactly the right moment. And there's no real downside to a slow character on a map like this where you have plenty of time anyway, so it's all upside, and it was not really visible. It was just a path near the ambassador, standard suspicion there.
That was a cool bug, too. Wrong arm onto the inside? Yes, please.
Yeah, and I think DavidW, really good position here. Question is, how aggressive does he want to be? And interesting, he doesn't want to get... Yeah, okay, he's done with the inspects. He wants to do this quick.
Inspects are done. Didn't get highlight for the first statue visit. 2 minutes left to play. All we need now is these flirts, but Boots, once again, likes moving a lot.
And here's the question. Can he resist, or is he just going to go for the win and dare him to shoot with 150 on the clock?
This is an early finish. I think hitting the contact would probably net a win right now, but every second that ticks by makes that less and less likely.
It's hard to say. Shep has no reason to react to the bug yet because he's positive that I think he's got to be positive that the flirt can't be done yet, and he knows banana bread isn't done. I think there's a risk here.
A low light. First flirt comes off for 34%, minute and 20 to play. Can we afford the timer flirt here? That's a lot of time that goes away if we do.
It's a big risk. But we just still don't know how suspicious Shep is of that bug, though. There just hasn't been much reason yet. But you get another talk in about 15 or 20 seconds, and if they really are suspicious, they might be forced to take a shot.
I really think that bug was clean.
I think you might be right.
Another talk comes off, but we don't have the flirt yet. There's the flirtation cooldown. There's the talk. There's a white test, 68%, 40 seconds. It's too long for another timer flirt. Double agent comes in to bail out, but DavidW is in for the flirts. It's gonna be tight. I don't know how long Section Target's gonna want to hang around there. 20 seconds to play.
He clearly wants to go with a silent game. I get it. Feels a little safer there, especially with the inspects done. It's a big moment.
He goes. There's the last flirt. I don't see a shot happening.
It's such a quick talk, though.
About it. He zoomed in. 2 seconds. 1 second. The shot comes off. And Shep goes 4-0 on high rise.
And you wonder, one of two possibilities there. Either maybe a little wary of the bug, but just as likely doesn't like any of their suspects and just sees someone walk away, come right back and talk at 12 seconds. Just a very spy-like move. And maybe at that point, if you have a good game sense, this happens with snipers sometimes, you don't know, you might not be good enough to catch the thing you missed, but you can still be good enough to know you missed it or suspect you missed something. If that's the case there, maybe you just look for who's acting like a spy in the last 20, 30 seconds, especially if you've decided from research or observation that your opponent is the type of person who usually finishes missions.
I mean, if you go back to where the bug happened and you kind of look at Shep's camera movement, so like David takes kind of an interesting path, and then Shep kind of follows Pearls a little bit with the camera. So I'm guessing Shep was pretty suspicious of that bug. And knowing that, and I think David was playing as if, David was thinking like, okay, I'm probably really suspicious from that bug, and I think a banana bread probably would have resulted in a bullet just
maybe.
earlier.
Well, what's interesting, so I certainly think there's a chance, yeah, very suspicious of the bug. On the other hand, the reason I was talking about that first flirt cooldown timer is that if you're watching them that closely, you know theoretically if they green both of those, that's the game. So if you don't shoot there, you're simultaneously sort of crediting the bug, but you're hedging your bets by saying, in case I'm wrong, I'm going to make them also 2 green flirt for the win. Otherwise, I'm going to wait for a third talk. So there's like a weird little hedging effect there, even though those are 2 separate questions.
Yeah, that's a fair point. But yep,
very strange.
Shep comes out of the first map 4-0. Where are we heading to next? I don't even remember. Oh, the library.
The library. Almost the polar opposite of what we just saw.
But man, what a good-looking map.
It's a pretty map, man.
Yeah, some notable features. We have 3 bookshelves for your microfilm goodness. The spy view can only see about a third of the map at any given time. So
the sniper view.
Sorry, yes, the sniper view can only see a third of the map at any given time. So plenty of opportunity for shenanigans. It is one of the better. I don't know. I'm not going to editorialize. I love this map. Let's see how it goes.
In 3, 2, 1, playing it. Shep with a very, very solid lead coming out of the first map. Let's see what David can do to bring it back.
Shep actually did not play Library much this year, even though it was one of the more popular maps, I think, overall in SCL. Only a few times. 1 out of 3 spy games there. DavidW, on the other hand, played it 12 times. Won 2/3 on the sniper side.
Shep starting things off with a single inspected side statue. Only inspects the center statue and gets highlight for it. I think there may have been a tiny bit of an animation break. I'm not sure. Picks up the first flirt as well for 34%.
And moving already. Not content to just sit there and timer flirt. Makes sense.
This is library. It's hard to find those little things. In conversation with the double agent. Keeping an eye on things, waiting for conversations to fill up. Just decides not to. Gonna take the... Oh no, it's a red flirt.
That's bad. You can have to chase around a lot on library. They could walk all the way across the map after the red flirt.
Well, we're back in conversation with the double agent. Oh man, we got safety off there for a second. But it was on general, which doesn't make sense because general has a triangle.
Sometimes it's just like a weird way to zoom.
Speaking of general, he bails, so we're not able to get the contact off. We step into the back for what I thought was going to be a time ad, but then wasn't. Sheph goes back into side statues, but because he inspected the center statue the first time around, can't finish inspect on the second visit. Everything is falling apart here for Sheph, so he just goes for the white swap. Ah, there it is. It's on camera. I think David knows.
Well, he's certainly aware that a swap has taken place, and he's staring it down. The question is he going to convince himself, because it's hard to see on library, the actual fade, is he going to convince himself that it was actually a green?
We shall see. Sheph not dead yet, but in time trouble. 2 inspects done, 1 flirt done, 1 swap done. Minute and 30 to play. Not a situation you want to be in. Honestly, even if the swap was clean, probably not in the situation you want to be in. Stepping out, probably hunting for another flirt. No, decides not to. 1 minute left to play. Here's the time ad. It's white. Now stepping for the flirt.
That's a good point. Even if you just gave them the swap for free, be running low on time. And worth noting that whether DavidW knows this or not, no one was at that statue before at any point in the game.
The goddamn seduction target bails again. We have to do a fake contact. And the cough on the exit! Oh no! Oh no! Oh no! David gets on the board.
Now, I think David was probably on that swap, but at that point, he really understands he doesn't have to shoot. So that game was... It just sort of fell apart from the beginning, really.
Yeah, that was rough. All right, but let's get into the next one. David on the spy this time, looking to get back in there. In 3, 2, 1, playing it.
And David won half his spy games on library this year, and that's out of 12, so that's significant.
Indeed.
Shep only played a few, but won 2 out of 3 as sniper.
Starting things off in conversation for 19% on the flirt. Which is not amazing, but we are also in conversation with the double agent.
Yeah, chance to get a few things done. Always interesting to see if someone takes the opportunity to contact the double agent early in the game on library or not.
This is true. No contact as of yet. Lots of people starting to move. Probably not going to pick up the early contact, I don't think, with how much movement we've got.
There was less earlier, and if they didn't take it then, yeah, pretty much resigned, I think, to not doing it at this point in the game.
Which means it's not a great start here for David. Ooh, Purloin! It's a white test. Swings away at the last moment, now sees the list gone. Didn't see the fade, but this is not a good situation for David, I don't think.
Yeah,
no highlight yet, but...
He's going to bide his time as well, just like David did with the swap, but I think at this point, David's in big trouble.
There's the highlight for the little interaction there with the ambassador, or at least making it look like that. Oh, and the frickin' seduction target is not being kind.
And library in general not being really kind to either spy. A couple unforced errors to go with it, though. All of it adding up to probably not going to get away with missions.
Yeah, these have not been very... Oh, come on!
Well, now it's just like a joke. The thing is, if you just maybe have to decide at this point, yeah, I'm not going to win this that way.
Oh, boy.
I think this is an etiquette problem here. Yeah, I don't think this is quite right.
I mean, there have been a few problems, let's be honest. Takes the banana split trying to get credited for the low light there. Steps into conversation with the seduction target, who will hopefully hang around. Yes, she does. White test brings us up to 52%. Safety off! But it looks like it's on David.
Yep.
And that's where the bullet is going to go. Oh, man, these have not been nice spy games on Library.
Yeah, the fake BB trying to kind of fish for a low light there. Valiant attempt, because it's the kind of conversation Sniper really has no reason to be looking at much, unless they've already decided you're their top suspect and they're basically keeping you on screen and see the whole thing happen. That game was probably over at the White Purloin, definitely over in that idle, in that conversation where there were a couple of etiquette breaks. Shep really just waiting for a reason, and eventually I think just got tired of waiting.
Yeah, you're probably right. Shep starting things out on the spy side once more, looking to widen the lead. David looking to stay in the match. In 3, 2, 1, playing it.
Yeah, really pulling away here, Shep is. And I mentioned before, David had won both his matches 9-3. So he hasn't even played anything close now. And now, a close match is something he has to hope for.
So, Shep's, I think, just aborted the time ad.
I think so.
I think he got one off and then aborted a second one.
You don't have to get greedy. One's enough.
Well, he got greedy and didn't get the extra time for it. Either way, David is showing no... It's not looking like he saw anything.
No, I don't think so.
No indication, that's the word I was looking for, that he saw anything. Although Shep really taking the time he added. Steps in a conversation with the ambassador. It's pretty exposed.
Yeah, at this point you're just timing and hoping, I guess. And if not, why do it? I guess you could do it just to see if you see an opening, and if you don't get any occlusion, maybe don't actually do it.
Ooh, it was on camera a little bit, but there was lots of movement from David. I don't think he saw anything.
That patience can pay off. That positioning there gave him a lot of time to pick his spots. Whether he picked right or not, it might have worked.
Yeah, it looks like it did. With the amount of camera movement David had, I would be surprised if he was able to catch the arm there. But we're at 3 minutes, and that's the only progress we have so far.
And that's with a time ad.
Yeah, that's with the time ad.
That's a lot of idling. But the bug is a decent trade-off if you can make a little more progress on this flirt or get something else done in the meantime, at least.
Green test on the first flirt brings us up to 33%. Not usually what you get from a green test, but still definitely very much in 3 flirt range.
And interesting to see Shep not going to do anything else, willing to take that time. That's always the choice. Do you break up these flirts or not?
Well, double agent shows up. So we definitely have contact on the table, and it gets taken. I think you've got to move now. You do not want this timer flirt. You're too far away. But he's going to take the timer flirt, hit a white test, and bring it up to 56%. 2 minutes to play.
Yeah, and Shep realizing, okay, there's really no need for another one. One at most.
56% after committing for the timer is not great. Green time ad directly in the middle of the camera, and he's just staring at it. No reaction from David.
Well, there's always going to be at least a few seconds before they notice anyway, and that's if they're the kind of sniper that does. Some people have a lot of trouble with it.
This is true. 2 minutes on the clock. It's a good thing you hit that green test. My goodness.
Yeah, otherwise the game's over.
That could have been so spooky.
DavidW very focused on the guest list right now.
And Shep very focused on idling. Stepping back in for the next flirt. Ah, this might not even be in green test range. Hits the green. It's 96%.
Yeah, and now that whole thing is just potentially coming back to bite them. You plan out the flirt just a little bit differently. Even just go do anything and then come back briefly, and you're in a different position entirely.
3 flirts, 2 of them green. Not even done yet. Does get a fingerprint off the briefcase. But with only 1 minute and 5 left to play, Shep is in a bit of a difficult situation here. Still needs a flirt, and a fingerprint, and something else. Bug is no longer on the table. Contact is no longer on the table. Purloin is, though, so we might be able to play into that, but David's watching it pretty carefully. There's the flirt finally getting finished up. 45 seconds to play.
Kind of amusing that he goes right next to the seduction target with 96%, but not in any of the other scenarios. And Shep, yeah, running low on time after 2 time ads and 3 missions done and a fingerprint.
30 seconds to play, just idling in a conversation. What's going on here?
There's a decent number of highlights here. I think David could easily get spooked and shoot someone if they do something late.
20 seconds. Here's the time ad. It's green. It was on camera again.
Oh my.
10 seconds on the sniper clock. It's going so slow.
And this can make you paranoid.
I think David missed it. Purloin has come off.
Totally off
Fails
screen.
to the bust. It's off camera.
He's gonna have to shoot somebody.
Shep got away with it somehow. He was watching so carefully for so long, but it's not the right shot. And Shep goes up 6-1.
Now, David didn't know probably until he saw that replay, but he was on the verge of winning that game. Shep was going to have to do something desperate. I should say something else desperate with the white purloin there. Stayed on the right side far too long looking at what I presume were some of their top suspects. But I'm not sure why. Toby's on the other side, and he was watching the purloin so close earlier. Why stop then is the question I'm wondering. But missing it, I don't understand the timing of the shot exactly either.
And here's the lesson, the big lesson for David to take away on that one. 4 time ads. 4 of them. One of which was aborted, mind you. But that's a lot to be giving away to the spy.
Right. Well, the problem is after doing so many, you know it's gonna stand out in the log. It's gonna be basically glowing. So they might not do any more the rest of the match, or they might say, "I'm gonna keep doing them until you catch me."
Either way,
it's also worth noting that there was going to be guaranteed overtime in that match as well, because the sniper clock was at 0. So
yeah, the timing of the shot just doesn't quite line up, I don't think. Yep. But that's the thing; those slow beeps. Then you see a mission done, and
I mean, the slow beeps are just pure unadulterated, like just torture. Just
every beep is like a taunt.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I think the Geneva Convention says something about slow beeps.
Opie Lord in the chat saying, "You know it's a green time. I can't wait for OT." That is not the case. If the timer is hanging at 0, it is going to OT, whether the spy agrees with you or not.
Yeah, it's a weird edge case, although it's less weird now that I see all these new challenger players who love to do green time ads late at the end of games. But yeah, if it's flashing at OT at 0 like that because of a green time ad, you get the full 10 seconds.
Yeah, overtime is based on sniper clock, not spy clock.
Right.
So, which actually I made that mistake. I think last year I didn't realize that until and I've been playing this game for 5 years. So I can't fault anyone for not knowing because I played this game for 4 years and didn't realize that. So
it was a teachable moment.
It was a teachable moment for all, and I think I was like, "This is a bug," and Checker's like, "No, that's the way it works." Like, oh yeah, I guess this makes sense. Okay, fine.
Perfect. All right, so David, stepping into the spy side in a very bad situation here, is going to need to find a way to string some games together. Shep on the spy side in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
In the first few games, it felt like they turned on relatively small things, David playing pretty well. But that one, I think it's fair to say, a little given away.
Yeah, bit of a collapse for David. 34% off of the first flirt, nice and early on. Also in conversation with the double agent. And it looks like David's just hanging out for the timer flirt in this situation.
Yeah, that can work. Both spies playing library a little bit more like High Rise, actually. The actual playstyle has not shifted as much with the map as you'd normally expect.
Yeah, and it took 3 time ads to make it work for Sheph. But David steps in the side statues here, picks up a highlight and a pair of inspects, and is getting ready to step back in for the second flirt. No! I stand corrected. David steps over to the middle of the map and takes a time ad.
Well, turnabout is fair play, I suppose.
Off camera. Although, he basically used the entire time ad by getting the time ad.
Right, that's often the case. Normally it's more about the psych out than the actual benefit.
This is true. In conversation with the double agent once more, waiting for people to settle in conversations.
And the end of red.
There's the contact. Smallman takes a low light, one other takes a low light. Maybe 2 others. But that's not bad, all things considered. Pretty good contact.
Yeah, you could do a lot worse on library.
2.5 minutes to play at this point. Stepping in now for the second flirt, but it's not going to be a good one. And the seduction target just bails before we're able to get it. Still only 34% with 2 minutes and 10 on the clock. Another innocent conversation. David spending a lot of time here, under 2 minutes.
Really interesting to see both spies so relatively reluctant. Even that big bug that Shep got was the result of a good 20 or 30 seconds of patience and planning there.
Crash bug! Library, ladies and gentlemen!
That's more like it. That's what we're used to seeing.
That's what we come here for. All right. Minute and 20 left on the clock. David needs to find another seduce pretty quickly here. Seduction target is on the move. Another time ad. This one green. Turnabout is fair play, as you were saying. It's right on camera. No reaction from Shep, though. Second flirt, another white test. 64% is not good enough. Unless we can hit a green on the last one.
Yeah, not hitting a green early on doesn't seem like a big deal because you've got a few chances. But once those chances have run out, and I say this almost every week, it's really rough late in the game to not know for a fact that you could just go up next to your seduction target and finish the mission. You have to plan out what you're going to do here late in the game, and that's very hard to do when you don't know if you need 1 flirt or 2.
Well, we can find out right here and now as we step in the blue bookcase. And it's a white test, so 98% is the current situation. 1 minute and 5 left on the spy clock. And we do hit the difficult fingerprint. That could be huge.
It could be, and now we know for a fact that 1 flirt's going to do it, but the clock is running low.
Under a minute now. Bug has already come off on the crash, so it is not on the table. Contact is not on the table. We've got progress on inspect, progress on flirt, progress on fingerprint, but we only have 35 seconds. Here's the last flirt as the second target comes to us. That's basically free. 30 seconds left to play. What's the plan here? Is it an inspect swap?
Inspect fingerprint.
Yeah, I was going to say that'd be a little safer, but you might get shot anyway just for blocking the statue late even.
Fingerprint on the statue. There's the inspect. There's the fingerprint. Goes down on one cycle. I think David might have found this. Sheph doesn't look like he's paying attention to it. And
Wow.
David takes a win on the spy.
The one cycle is a big deal. Otherwise, you get a jumpy shot potentially. Really good job. Well timed with the bug. Didn't take 20 or 30 seconds. It just went down at the right second when the sniper wasn't looking. That's what Dowsy calls the perfect library bug, where it's just completely off screen, so it really doesn't matter what it looks like. That's the case here. Finding that difficult fingerprint, safe to say, is the moment the game turned.
Absolutely. That fingerprint was gigantic. I don't know. I think a swap probably wouldn't have been enough in that case, but the fingerprint is able to do it. David is still not in a great spot. It's still 2-6, but now we're stepping into the balcony, and this is a place where comebacks call their home.
Anything
Sheph's
can happen. Dreams can be made and crushed here on
And
Balcony.
yeah, and nightmares.
And
One
nightmares
man's dream is another man's nightmare.
Balcony, the smallest map in the game with the fewest people. Any 2 of 3. Bug, contact, seduce. Let's see how it plays out.
Dreams or nightmares. Let's see which way David is leaning. In 3, 2, 1, playing it.
It's the smallest map, but it looms the largest sometimes, and David has really struggled here. He has lost, as sniper, I believe, 5 of his 6 games on Balcony this year. He does not like Balcony.
Ooh, that's not something you want to hear going into this map.
And I believe, if I'm reading right, Shep has won 7 of 8 on the spy side, which is pretty nuts.
God.
So this is a bad matchup potentially for David, and he does not have any margin left.
Really heavy delay on the first flirt. Waits 30 full seconds before he takes it. But it's a white test for 34%. Minute and 10 left to play. Seduction target doing briefcase shenanigans.
Banana bread.
Contact comes off. One low light on the table. We know for a fact now that it is not the queen. But the contact is done. 50 seconds to play. And a bad shot comes off with still 45 seconds on the clock.
I mean, at that point, you just have to be crediting bug or something. That's the only thing that makes any sense. Let's see here. Yeah, Taft, just leaves conversation when the ambassador goes next to them. That's all it is. That's the only reason to shoot at that time. DavidW, phantoming a bug. Very easy to do on Balcony. So far, nightmare.
So far, nightmare. Let's see if we can at least split it from the spy side. In 3, 2, 1, playing it.
And I haven't seen the individual outcomes that I mentioned that DavidW's been losing on Balcony, but based on that shot, easy to imagine Phantom Bug's a big part of it. That's normally the #1 thing that you have to do to be at least decent on Balcony, especially in the new art, is not Phantom the Bugs.
Oh no!
Wow.
What?
I think worried about an early bug. There's an early bug path the first few seconds. It's totally coincidental. There's no bug attempt. But when you see an early banana bread on Balcony like that, it's so easy to think that it's covering for a bug and that you're forcing them to shoot in 10 seconds.
All you gotta do is not phantom the bug unless you're Shep.
Yeah, unless you're right. They both potentially phantom a bug, but it works out in one case and not in the other. That's Balcony for you sometimes.
That's rough. That is rough. And now 8-2. Is this match point, or do we have a couple more on the table?
Yeah, I believe that's it.
This is match
Yeah,
point.
I think so.
So we're heading enough Balcony. I believe we're now heading to Veranda. We go from the smallest map to one of the largest. Interesting. Like library, the sniper can't see all parts of the map at the same time. There are statues galore. There's 2, 4, 6, 8 statues, 3 bookcases, home of the cheesy microfilm, and a lot of people.
David, at this point, needs 6 games straight to force overtime. Shep really showing his prowess here. It's been good play, David, with his back against the wall, stepping into the sniper side of Veranda in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
I would gladly go to any restaurant that advertised itself as home of the cheesy microfilm.
I mean, you're not wrong. Sheph
sounds good, right?
Immediately pulls out a red book. So that cheesy microfilm is getting ready to get underway. Steps out for a quick little in-betweener for the first flirt for 34%.
And neither player played Veranda much. Only, I think, 4 games apiece in all of SCL. It was the most, I think, the least picked map in all of SCL too. And when something is the least or most in SCL this season, based on the sheer number of challengers, that usually is a product of what happened in Challenger. So Challenger's not a fan of Veranda, including our 2 players tonight.
This is very true. Here comes the microfilm getting set down. David is not on it, so that's a free hardtail done for Sheph. And getting ready to step in for the second flirt next to Smallman here. Another white test, 68%. Sheph is in a very good position here, getting that early hardtail done, but still needs to find one more. With 2 minutes and 35 left to play, there's plenty of time. Difficult fingerprint on the briefcase. Does hit it!
That's big. And yeah, we mentioned earlier on Library, you know, people get away with bugs. This planet plays the same. You get away with a hardtail sometimes, and part of you wants to go, oh, I'm home free, but no, you're not. You have so many missions to do.
Second fingerprint on the blue bookcase. Sheph is making quick work of this game so far. Still 2 minutes left to play. One flirt. Finally gets a highlight.
And that's awfully late in both game time and mission progress to be getting that highlight.
But that may well have been for being seen at 2 bookcases. So, worried about the microfilm is David, and that could be a way back into this game. Red test on the next flirt also is going to be helpful for David. You could just ignore that action test at that point. You don't even need to try to hit the green, but sometimes it's instinct, and sometimes you hit the red instead. In conversation with the double agent here. Minute and 15 on the clock. Sheph's starting to come down to it. No contact yet. Here it comes. 1 minute. White test on the contact, but it does come off. No reaction from David.
Zooming in a bit on the list, worried that it was covering for that maybe. Once again, at least the second time tonight, we've seen him very concerned with the list on a big map, although in the other time, he actually missed the purloin late. Can't lose track of it.
Very buggable position here, and David is really taking care to be on it. There's the bug going. Wasn't in a good enough position to see it. It was basically invisible, but David is worried enough about it. A little bit of a weird path coming around that David is ready and willing to take the shot and stays alive a little bit longer.
I think he noticed the wonky path and figures that really doesn't make sense as anything else. This person's already a suspect. And when I said they were zooming in on the list, worth noting they could have been zooming in on Sheph as well. In that case, though, even though the bug itself is good, the path just doesn't really make any sense as anything else. Really good by David there to catch.
Yeah, that is not an easy play to make, especially when you just got burned on balcony. But a very nice catch for David, sticking to his guns in a very literal sense. Stays alive and steps into the spy side in 3, 2, 1, playing it. Walking hand in hand with the seduction target to start things off. Unfortunately, that doesn't bring up the seduction meter any. Maybe it should. That would be awesome. Ooh, the reverse drive-by bug to open the game. It's a bold position for it because the back was right to the camera. But Sheph's eyes are elsewhere. And David with a strong start and picking up the green flirt for 51% as well. Stepping out to the conversation with the double agent, getting ready to start the contact. Lots of movement.
And the end of red.
There's the contact coming off. One highlight gets low-lit. Two others get low-lit as well. That's not terrible, especially covering for the purloin.
Yeah, that's two hardtails done in half the flirt, and DavidW actually really seems to be coming back here. That's a really strong catch on the sniper side, and now a really strong aggressive game on the spy side so far.
Rough start for David in the match, but he is really starting to pick it up now. Very strong shot from the sniper side, and now a beautiful game of spy so far. As David steps, was looking for the second flirt, but the seduction target wasn't quite having it. Bails to statue instead. Picks up a pair of inspects at the front right statue. Doesn't get highlight for it. Now stepping in for that flirt he wanted. Does he hit the green test? Does hit the green test. That's a 2 flirt. And we still have 1:35 left to play and 1 inspect to win it.
And you kind of want to dare him to shoot you at this point for a statue visit. Early.
Yeah. This is a good situation. It looks like David's going right to the statues. I wouldn't have gone for the ones at the back here, but if he's worried about a swap, he can just have a look for it. 1:15 left to play when the mission win countdown goes. Gets highlight, but it's just a 1 cycle. There is no shot coming at this point, and David is able to bring it to yet another map. This time heading forward to the courtyard.
And it's kind of a shame if you're David to play those 2 really strong games and realize, wow, I'm still down so much. I need to win so many more games. Just a tough position to be in. I think David maybe found his stride just a few games too late there.
Yeah.
Yep, that brings us to Courtyard, considered, I would say, I don't remember who coined the term, but the DE dust of SpyParty. We have free 360-degree movement from the sniper. We have a really cool statue of Turing on the top, and we have 2 sets of interactable statues on either side of the map. Any 4 of 7 is the standard layout. Back to you.
And there was a time when this was considered a very sniper-favored map, but since the big shakeup with Challenger League and all these new players coming in, we have seen a lot of spy wins here.
Yeah, it could be confirmation bias a little bit, but I do think the way the challengers are playing it, it's certainly not as sniper-favored as we'd thought. Seems to mostly happen the higher up you go.
Either way, you definitely need some creativity on the spy side to make it happen on this map. Let's see if Shep can display some of that creativity you need here. In 3, 2, 1, playing it.
And this map is actually shockingly rough for DavidW. He played Sniper on Courtyard 8 times this year. 38% win rate.
I'm not sure if that highlight was for the statue visit or for a bad catch on the way in, but David could already be in a good position here. Shep picks up the inspects at the statue, doesn't go for any swap shenaniganry, and steps in right next to the ambassador. Worth noting, this is not the real double agent as well. Green purloin and steps away to the seduction target. Toby follows, though. There's the take. Did David see it? No reaction. Now zooms in. I think he sees the list gone just now. So a little bit late to the party on the purloin. Not much reaction yet.
Yeah, and if you're not confident you caught it early, there's so little you can do with the information. You just have to chalk it up as a loss. And on other maps like Library of Veranda, which we've already seen, that might not be so bad. But on Courtyard, it's basically the game.
That is a huge thing to give up for David. He's in a... unless he is very confident about Shep, he is in a very, very bad situation right now. You cannot afford to give up purloins on a map like this.
No, and it only takes a moment, again, because it's not just about missing it. It's about missing it and not being sure how long it took you to catch. And don't be surprised.
1 minute to play, but we already have the hardtail done. We've got half a flirt. We've got double agent. Ooh, actually steps out for the next flirt before taking the contact. Probably a wise decision there.
You could see a really aggressive shot come off there. You know the purloin is gone. If someone just does something a little spy-like at the end of this game, that could be enough to shoot them.
Not hitting the green test on the second one brings us up to 85%. 35 seconds on the clock. This could be a little bit tight, especially since the section target has gone to statues now. Shep really taking a lot of time here. This could be so dangerous, especially with the double agent stepping away. 15 seconds. Flirt not getting done. Here's the swap. It's a green test. It's gonna hang, but David not willing to hold the shot. And I suppose at this point it was just a matter of time, but Shep does indeed walk away with the set.
Yeah, that's twice today that the shot was wrong, but necessary anyway because the game was basically over.
Man, if David was somehow able to hold that shot after seeing the purloin go off, he could easily win that game. No contact happened, so unless he thought there was a fingerprint that went down, you gotta trust yourself in these situations, right?
I think so, but that's what happens when you miss something like a purloin on Courtyard. You just end up taking a shot for some kind of weird reason. You have to get aggressive. You have to try to shoot for a flirt pairing or a path or just spy-like behavior in general. It forces you into those difficult behavioral shots where you don't really have a whole lot to go on.
Man, David had flashes of brilliance in that set, but
absolutely,
unfortunately, there were just too few of them, and Shep just playing a really strong, solid set of SpyParty is able to take it convincingly 4-9.
Yeah, and that's Shep, the number 3 seed, knocking off David, the number 6 seed, into the semi-finals, down to the last 4. Shep goes.
That brings us to the end of this set. Our next set is going to be Plastiques versus Burke Sailor, which I will load up, and you two can talk amongst each other while I press buttons.
All right, so, question.
Yeah.
The promotion situation. Is it top 2 in the tournament get an auto promotion, next 2 have to play a promotion game, or next 1 has to play a promotion game?
Yeah, I believe that's it, although with the huge caveat that, again, the performance and size of Challenger this year has led to a pretty strong indication that even if you don't officially get one of those spots, there will probably be ways to advance. Maybe less, certainly, than the people who actually win it. I have to imagine there's still going to be significant benefit for this, so there's still at least probably additional promotion on the line. But yeah, that's basically the idea how it works. If you don't take one of those top 2 spots in the regular season, you have to go through the hard work of a tournament, but you can still get rewarded there.
So Shep now in the top 4, in a position probably to fight for one of the promotion spots. Either that or having to play at the very least a 3rd, 4th place match for it. So
yeah, the runner-up gets to play a promotion match against, I think, the middle finisher of Iron, which is 3rd. There are some complications with that, for which I've already alluded to, but also because the people basically dropped out of Iron, so that is yet to be seen. but we know the winner definitely gets to be promoted, and the runner-up gets some kind of extra opportunity to do so.
That brings us to our next